Today we're talking about the sum method and tackling the day 18 challenge of the 21-day coding challenge by Lighthouse Labs. The best way of explaining the sum method is to compare it against the every method. The every method takes every element and tests it, and if they all pass, then it returns true. Whereas the sum method checks to see if any of the elements pass, and if it does, then it returns true. Whereas the every method would have returned false. The sum method takes three arguments: the current value, the index, and the array itself. So with that, let's take a look at an example. So in this example, we're given an array of numbers, and we're trying to figure out if some of these numbers, as in ages, are over 18. We check the value through each iteration to see if it's over 18, and since some of them are, the function returns true. If none of them were, it would return false. So as in the example, the sum method can be useful for determining if there are any adults in the field trip, and the sum method can also be useful for making sure that there are no adults in the bouncy castle. So with that, let's tackle the day 18 challenge. We're tasked with counting raffle tickets across 3 independent colors. New to today's challenge, we're asked to create 2 functions and call one function from the other. The 2 functions are count tickets and best odds. Count tickets takes an array of strings and is to tally up the number of times each color appears. Knowing the return will be an object, I go ahead and create this object, naming it ticket count, and define it with 3 properties: red, green, and blue. I set up each of the properties to the default value of 0, then begin constructing a for loop for ticket of tickets. I take the ticket count and access the correct property using bracket notation and increment the count of the appropriate property using the ++ operator. Then, to complete the function, I return the ticket count object. With that out of the way, I turn my attention to the best odds function. In this function, we calculate the odds of each of the ticket colors and return a string with the best odds. I copy and paste the return string, knowing that the color will be the only changing part of the string. I then create a counter that will contain the best ticket as we navigate through each of the colors. I realize that I can accomplish this without a loop and just 2 comparisons, so I create if statements to determine which color has the best odds. Is red better than green and blue? Then red is the best. Is green better than red and blue? Then green is the best. Otherwise, blue is the best. I realize at this point we're not comparing counts, rather odds based on how many tickets are given to us. To handle this, I create 3 calculations that will take the number of each colored tickets a person has and compare it to the count of tickets for that color. To do this, I need to know how many tickets of each color a person has, so I call the function we created earlier, count tickets. I use count tickets and access the color I want using dot notation and divide it by the raffle entries .color to get these odds. I then update all my if statements with these odds and determine the appropriate response. A test reveals a spelling mistake, this correction, another test, and finally a submit, and we've completed the day 18 challenge. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you tomorrow.